Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara. I have been on a 3-year makeup no-buy, and today we're talking about what my goals are for the next year. Essentially my no-buy goals 2022. So I know that 2022 started a little while ago, but it's okay. I only post one video a week, and so it's hard for me to get out all the videos right at the beginning of 2022 like everyone else seems to be doing. But let's talk about it. First, I really wanted to discuss last year and how I feel like it went. I did a video briefly touching on this. It was sort of like an update on my relationship to makeup and my makeup low buy / no buy at the end of 2021. So I will link that right here. I didn't cover everything, and so I wanted to talk more about my goals today and specifically about my 2021 goals and my 2022 goals, as well as how things have sort of changed over the year. So let's just get into it. Okay, so I went back and I watched the video that I made at the beginning of 2021, which was just called like makeup goals for the year. I will link that right here. And I laid out all of the plans that I had for the year. And I'm pretty impressed with myself because A, I stuck pretty well to all of these goals, and B, my goals are pretty much consistent this year, which means that not that much has changed, which is a good thing. I don't want to like radically change my makeup collection or my relationship to makeup. I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. I could definitely do with a more curated collection, but compared to where I used to be, I think I'm doing pretty well. So let's talk about the goals that I had last year. So first of all, my goal was to go on a 6-month makeup no buy, and after that point I would transition to a low buy. And I actually overachieved on this one. After I finished my no buy and I was supposed to transition over to the low buy, I picked up a couple of new items, but it was pretty much a no buy for the remainder of the year. I didn't stick to it with like skincare products. I have purchased quite a few skincare things, but in terms of makeup, I really brought very few new things into my collection, just a handful, and I'll show some of these things later in the video. I did better than I expected in this regard. The second goal was to not make any spontaneous makeup purchases, and I definitely stuck to that. Out of the things that I brought into my collection, nothing was just like, ooh, I see that, I like it, I haven't heard anything about it, but it's on sale and I'll pick it up. None of that. A couple of things I did get from Buns, a couple of things I got from Merit, which were very, very well considered, and then one product that I got just very recently, but I had on my wish list for a long time. I didn't buy anything on sale except for some skincare, and that was well planned in advance. So everything was very, very well planned out, and I'm happy about that. The next goal was to pan 3 products per month. I feel like that's kind of the bare minimum. Like I would say I had about 3 makeup empties per month, maybe 2, but in the video I said that this could be like any kind of empty, skincare, hair care, whatever, and I tended to finish way more like skincare products per month than I did makeup. It's just faster to go through those things. So in that respect, I definitely did succeed. But yeah, 3 makeup products per month, maybe not so much, but just in terms of general having empties, I obviously had more than 3 empties per month. That's a pretty low bar for me. The next goal was to make a project pan video every other month. I don't know why I had this as a goal. I don't feel like it's like something tricky or that I would have to like work to achieve. I guess it's just that in the year before, in 2020, I didn't have any kind of like rules to my project pan. I just, whenever I felt like doing a project pan video, I would do one, but I had a more regulated version of that last year, so I'm glad I was able to stick to it. I did 6 project pan videos last year, and I'm really happy with them and how my project pan went. Number 5 was to create makeup looks that I enjoy, and I said this because in the previous year I had a lot of makeup products that I didn't like a ton, that I was really just trying to make work or see if I liked them, and so because of that I wasn't always loving the looks. I definitely did more looks that I liked this past year, but of course here and there was going to be a makeup look that I didn't like, just if I was trying to make something work. For example, there was this Revlon eyeliner that was in a green shade that I really, really wanted to work, and it just didn't, so I ended up decluttering it. But yeah, definitely had my fair share of makeup looks that I loved, but also had a fair number that I did not love. The next goal was to enjoy makeup more, or just to not hate pan products. In a way, I think I succeeded, but not Completely. Because every year I sort of work on like the worst products in my collection, that means that the longer I go on this no buy and this panning journey, the better my products will get, because I'll just like, you know, it'll be like out with the old. So when I was showing the products that I had finished in this past year, I did 2 empties videos recently, one makeup empties and one hair care, skincare, body care empties. Looking through, I was like, wow, I used to use like, you know, I had lower standards, and I think as time goes on, my standards are getting higher and higher. And so I'm definitely enjoying the makeup that I use more. But in terms of hate panning, I still feel like I end up, maybe not hate panning, but dislike panning sometimes, like the bronzer I'm using, the foundation I'm using. Not huge fans of them. But yeah, this is something I can work on in future. And it just depends what I have in my collection. The next goal was to get more adventurous. I think this was particularly in regards to eyeshadow looks. I really wanted to get a bit more out of my comfort zone and work a bit harder on eyeshadows. And I definitely did this. I came up with a ton of looks that I just wouldn't have done before, especially for the occasions that I did them. Like whenever I had a get together, I would go really all out with my makeup looks. And I loved it. It was so much fun doing that, especially because in COVID, like there really hasn't been much excuse to wear nice makeup. So I'm glad that I took opportunity when I did before the province that I'm in fully shut down, which it has. Again, the next goal was to be more decisive with my declutters. This sort of goes back into what I was talking about earlier. I just end up keeping products longer than I probably should, and I try to use them even if I don't like them. I think I am getting a little bit better in this. There's a blush that I decluttered recently that I don't think I would have decluttered back in 2020, but there's still a ton of blushes that I probably should get rid of. So maybe in the future this will get better. The 9th goal was to pan more products than I decluttered every month. And I think that this was kind of even, to be honest. Towards the end of the year, I was panning fewer and fewer products just because I have worked through so many things in my collection now that, for example, blush, like if I wanted to start on a new blush and try to pan it, it would take me like over a year because I don't have that much stuff that is like almost finished anymore, and I used to. And I didn't see that coming at the beginning of the year. Last year, I was definitely panning a lot more than I was decluttering just because I was getting through so much stuff, and this is just not the case anymore. So not sure about that one. The last goal was to avoid the drugstore and invest in makeup. This is again going back to the like sales issue that I had where I was kind of a makeup hoarder before, and if something was on sale, I would just pick it up whether or not I wanted it. So I thought that if I would choose products that more planning had gone into and more money, then I would end up, you know, having a better makeup collection. I still think that this is true to an extent, and I didn't actually purchase any new drugstore products this year, but I don't want to write off the drugstore entirely in the way that I used to. Okay, so those are my 2021 goals. I feel like I achieved them pretty well for the most part, but let's talk about 2022 now. And as I said, I pretty much stick by all of those goals that I mentioned. At least the things that are like be more adventurous, be more decisive with my declutters, all that sort of stuff. I want to stick to that. I want to keep trying to create fun makeup looks. I don't want to hate pan. I think all of those were really, really good goals. But the main thing that you're probably wondering is, will I be on a no buy for 2022? And I've decided that yes, I will be doing a replacement only no buy for 2022 with some leniency. So there are some things that I have in mind that I want over the next little while. And so because I've been thinking about these things, I will allow myself to purchase them. So no buy / low buy. For the first 6 months, I think it will be effectively a no buy because the only things that I like need are foundations and concealers, and I'm covered for at least 6 months. I think I will be finishing one concealer fairly soon, and then hopefully 2 or even 3 foundations, I think within the next 8 months, so I won't need to replace any of those until at least midway through the year. So again, I'm saying 6 month no buy, and then after that, more of a low buy, although it might end up being a no buy again. And there's also a brand that I discovered recently called Cleona. I think that's how you say it. That's actually based here in Toronto. I have realized that there are some gaps in my eyeshadow collection. I really do want more bold shimmers and more colors because I have no green eyeshadows. I have no purple eyeshadows. I could even use some more red ones because I love red as an eyeshadow, and yellow. I want some sparkly yellows because the yellows that I do have, I think I only have two, and they're just matte. So there's a couple things that I have my eye on, but that won't be until the second half of the year. So yeah, essentially replacement no buy with some leniency in place. And then obviously I want to continue project panning and continue panning my eyeshadows. As well as my Project Pan series, I have a Pan Those Eyeshadows series, which I will link my most recent video right here. But I'm loving that series as a way to try out some eyeshadows that I really don't get a ton of use out of. So far, I've only done single eyeshadows in that project. It's been super effective. I'm not loving my current set of eyeshadows as much as I was loving the previous ones, but it's still teaching me things, and I think as a result, I will end up decluttering some of the items, so it is a learning moment at least. So I definitely want to continue those two projects. I really want to continue being decisive with my declutters because it has been so easy to find people to take makeup that I no longer want. I used to just keep it to like my friends and family and ask them if they wanted the products, and if not, it was like, ugh, this is such a hassle. But first I will post on Buns. Sometimes people will want the products on there, they'll want to trade for it. And then if nothing else, I post on Facebook Buy Nothing groups, which is really effective because there's like tens of thousands of people in those groups, and there's always someone who could use your makeup that you no longer want. I mean, maybe they won't end up using it, but I think in most cases, like if they've said they want it, they probably will. So I just need to be optimistic about that. I'm not going to put strict goals on the number of products that I want to pan every month because I don't think that that's actually effective. Like, I'm going to continue panning to the best of my abilities regardless of if I don't have 3 products panned that month. I don't really think it will make a difference by me imposing rules like that on myself. So I guess what I'm saying is these rules this year are like just generally more lenient than last year, which is fine. It shows that I have definitely evolved with my relationship to makeup. Oh, and how could I forget? One major goal that I have for myself this year is to specifically declutter my eyeliner and mostly lipstick collections. You guys were all roasting me in the comments because when I showed these two categories in my makeup inventory, I think you all were pretty shocked, especially with the eyeliners category. There was just so many in there that I hadn't reached for in ages, some that were completely dried up, which I just didn't know because I hadn't reached for them. And also my lipstick collection, I have like 40 plus lip products, which just doesn't make sense because like lips aren't one of my favorite categories in terms of makeup. Just the fact that I have more lip products than mascaras kind of shocked me. So those are two categories where I really need to work on decluttering in this next year. So yeah, those are all of the goals that I have for now. This may develop over time. I may change my mind, but I did want to put some loose goals in place so you know what I'm thinking and yeah, just like how this next year is going to go for me in terms of makeup. I did also want to reflect a little bit on what I brought into my collection lately because I have acquired some new products. I have them here in front of me, mostly skincare, but a couple of makeup things. So I just wanted to talk about like if the things that I brought into my collection, if I regret them or if I'm happy that I brought them in. This is not the full year of what I brought into my collection. In September, I actually did a video where I talked about the things that I had acquired in the past few months, so I'll just be talking about what I've acquired since September. So let's start with the most exciting. This is the NYX glitter primer. I actually purchased this just a couple days ago. I had been on the hunt for this for a long time. Oh, it's not even open. So when I finally found it, it says 6 months. That is only good for 6 months. That is BS. I swear Sarah Rose has had this for like years and years. So I'm just ignoring that straight off the bat. I haven't used it yet, but it looks so cute. I actually probably could have used it today because as you can see, I have a lot of sparkle on my eyes today. But I think that this could just be really helpful in bringing out the shimmers on my eyes. And I think this was the only, or like the first makeup product that I've actually purchased from a store like since the beginning of my no buy, because all the other makeup that I brought into my collection either I got it through Buns or was sent to me in PR. And on that note, these next 3 items were sent to me in PR altogether. These were the Merit products. They actually offered to send me their whole line, but I opted to just select the 3 that I thought I would get the most use out of. And I'm so happy I did that, because that lip oil would just be languishing in my collection. I would never be using it because I do not like the look of glossy or wet lips. So this is the Merit Brow Gel, which I think is fine. It's not the best ever, but I only have 1 brow gel left in my collection, so I have something to move on to when that's done. This is the concealer slash foundation. I think this is actually really good. It looks very natural, very healthy on the skin, so I'm really glad that I accepted that one. And then this is the highlight. This is a beautiful shade. This is the thing that I needed the least, but I still enjoy it. So hopefully if I finish off my NYX liquid highlight, which is the only other non-powder highlight I have, then I will feel vindicated for accepting this product. Those 3 things are still the only PR I've received, which is probably a good thing. If I start getting more PR offers, I feel like that would be very tempting. You know what I mean? So very much appreciated. Thank you to Merit for sending them. I'm so happy I have them. And then I have this Kevyn Aucoin duo. You can see I still have the plastic on there. I got this from Buns, but it was completely new. Sculpt and Highlight Duo. Now maybe 6 months from now I'll be coming back and saying that I love this product, I'm so happy I have it, but for some reason I just haven't reached for it, and so at this point I regret it just because I'm not using it, but I need to remedy that. Part of me is like, well, when you finish the NYC bronzer then you can move on to this one, but shouldn't I just get some use out of it now and maybe I'll like this better? I don't know. But yeah, those are the only new makeup products that I brought in within the last 3 or 4 months. And then in terms of like skincare, I'll show you what I have got. The duo that I'm using for face wash and moisturizer right now are these 2 things from Pacifica. I love them both. I love pretty much everything I've tried from Pacifica, but these 2 are among the favorites. This is a Seafoam Complete Face Wash. I love how this smells. It says it's coconut. It just feels so lovely on the skin. I love the packaging. This is the Pacifica Cosmic Shield Hydration Lock Face Cream, Hemp and Avocado. This one, I feel like it's an acquired smell. I don't think everyone would love this scent, but I really enjoy it. I also think the packaging is beautiful. And I have tried another moisturizer from them, like in the same packaging and everything, but I actually think this one works better on me. And then this is another duo. I think all of these, my mom got me these as presents at different points of the year. This is a duo. This is the Glow Baby Brightening Face Wash, and you know, very similar to this one. Super cute. And Pacifica Glow Baby Lotion. So this is in a different package than this one. As you can see, it's got a pump there, but obviously I haven't tried this one yet. I do wish that they had products that like didn't have packaging the way that Lush has package-free products, but like it says better packaging, which is something, but it's not everything. 37% recycled plastic tube. Yeah, so this is, some of this is virgin plastic. Okay, and then the last new thing that I brought into my collection, this was also a present. This is, speaking of Lush, this is a shampoo. This is the current one that I use, and this is just like, I asked my mom to get me another one because I love it so much. I've tried quite a few of these different shampoo bars, but I find this one to be the most effective. It's so sudsy. Like, I love when shampoos really foam up your hair. I love the scent, although it is strong, so fair warning. I think it's like the lavender one. But those are all of the new products that I brought into my collection in the past 4 months or so, which I feel like is pretty good. I did actually bring just a couple other things into my collection in the past couple months. Black Friday, I got things from The Body Shop and from The Ordinary, but I did haul both of those in my like end of the year update video, I'm pretty sure it was, or some other video. I showed those things already, so I didn't necessarily want to show them twice. I also purchased a perfume from Plato's Closet. This was a Taylor Swift perfume. So yeah, a couple other bits and bobs that I accumulated, but I didn't want to show them twice in case you have seen both of those videos. But no other makeup. The makeup that I showed in here was the only makeup that I brought into my collection the past couple months. I also got these from Buns. I can't even remember when this is, but I don't think I showed it in a YouTube video. Could be wrong. I think it was like July or August when I got these. These are a set of brushes from Harry Potter. I don't know how good they are. Sorry, it got cut off there. But I got these brushes from a Buns trade. It came, you know, in this package, so clearly nobody had used it. I'm a little dubious about how good it is just because it's like clearly from the brand. It's not like affiliated with, you know, ColourPop or Sephora or another makeup company. It's just branded Harry Potter. So I don't know how good these are, but they are absolutely beautiful. I've just been keeping them in there because I'm like that. And I like how they named the brushes after the characters. Like, yes, Ron Weasley would definitely use a fan brush. So I maybe could have included this like reflection on the makeup products that I brought into my collection in my end of the year no buy wrap up, but it also kind of feels like it fits in this video. But last part of the video, let's talk about the book that I have been reading lately. So this is Exhalation by Ted Chiang. So I actually thought that this was a different book. The movie Arrival, which is a Denis Villeneuve film, he's the one who directed Dune, Blade Runner, 2049, tons of large-scale sci-fi films. Arrival was based on a short story from Ted Chiang, and I thought that this was the book that contained that short story. This is not. This is the follow-up to that short story collection. That short story collection is called Stories of Your Life and Others. This one, it's also super interesting. As you can see, I'm pretty far through it, but it's actually taken me a long time to read. I think I was working on this for over a week before I decided to put it aside for a little bit and start another book. It's just very dense because each of these stories have an element of like sci-fi or fantasy to them, which I find I really have to think about, and sometimes I have to like reread certain lines because it is fairly complicated ideas, but because it's a short story, it's very condensed, so you have to understand things very quickly. So he's a fascinating writer just because I haven't seen sci-fi told through short stories. Like the fact that potentially each of these could spawn its own sci-fi film is fascinating, and I think he has some incredible ideas. So definitely an interesting book, but kind of a dense read. So I would recommend it if you do like sci-fi. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of my goals for the next year. I feel like they're pretty attainable just because they're very like more lenient than last year. Last year I had strict numbers in a lot of cases, and this year I'm like, you know, just kind of do what you're feeling, because I think that is a reflection of how much better I have gotten on my relationship with makeup and how much more curated my collection is. So hopefully next year this will only be improved, and yeah, that's gonna be it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye!